What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. We have Love After Lockup Season 3, Episode 19. And so it looks like they are combining now, like the old and the new, and they're just having one long-ass episode. It's like a 2-hour episode. So buckle up, Buttercup. We start off with Sean and Destiny. Now, I told you guys last week, Destiny done disappeared on Sean. She done packed up her stuff, and she done left. But what they didn't tell us was that she took Sean's car and his credit card. And of course, Sean is worried about what? That $50,000 bond. And he was like, and then of course she left the pregnancy test residual. Now we didn't see a pregnancy test, but we saw the residual of the pregnancy test. So we know she took one and she thinks she may be pregnant, or at least she left that evidence there. And of course, she's not answering the phone, and of course, Sean is freaking out. Now, later on in the episode, we see her riding around, talking to her mother, talking about how horrible it was, how Sean, the meeting they had with Sean's, with the baby's mom was like the last straw, and how she knows that Sean is talking to her more than she needs to, and like you're talking to her during the day. The kids are at school during the day. What do you need to talk to her for? And I'm thinking, like, what is wrong with you? What part of she has 6 kids with this man are you not understanding? There are conversations that need to be had. Now, at the end of the day, is there something nefarious going on? I really don't think so right now. Now, was he still dipping and dabbling while you was locked up? Sure. But since you've been out, nah. But boo, weren't you dipping and dabbling in jail with the inmates you said you were? So again, it doesn't make it any different because you were having sex with the woman versus him having sex with her. Like both y'all was lying. So for you to make it into that he's told all these horrible lies about you, girl, you was lying. You lied about getting high in jail. You lied about having sex in jail. You lied. Hell, you've been flirting since you've been out. Remember the girl at the furniture store before his credit card got declined? So like you sitting here acting like you on your high horse, like Sean is such a horrible person and he done told you all these lies. Girl, you got a whole list of lies and deception yourself. Okay? And the fact, the audacity that you have to say, well, I'm just going to take his car and one of his credit cards, but I don't want to be with him no more. He's such a horrible person. Girl. And then her mother was like, well, are you going to come home? I don't know what I'm doing, Mom. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. And of course, his mother was like, well, I wasn't feeling him from the beginning with them lies, which I don't blame her mother for feeling like that. Because that dinner she had with Sean, when, that she realized Sean lied about his age and how many kids he had. As a parent, you should feel some kind of way about that. I would feel some kind of way about that if I was the mama, right? So you ain't wrong for feeling that way, okay? Here's where you wrong, though. Stay out them people business. You know your daughter crazy. Anyway, so later on in the episode, Destiny is complaining about she's having really bad stomach cramps. She said that she's had a ectopic, I think that's the correct pronunciation, pregnancy before, which basically means that the egg did not come out of the fallopian tubes, that the egg is in the fallopian tubes. There's no way that you can create a baby inside of your fallopian tubes. It's going to be a problem. With that being said, she got, the producer was actually with her, and the producer even said, pull over. Like, that's how nervous the producer was like, I need you to pull over because, guess she wasn't comfortable with her driving. And they ended up going to the emergency room. You can tell it's during COVID because she's got a mask on. So she was like, I don't want to go to the emergency room. I don't want to go. And I'm sure that has something to do with her not wanting to be inside of a hospital emergency room at that time. But that's the last thing we see is Destiny going into the emergency room. Girl, that thing is a whole mess. Like, I was like, if you want to leave, leave. I mean, for the exception of the fact that you gonna leave Scott on the hook for that, Sean on the hook for that, bond. But then again, he was a fool for putting up $50,000 bond on you. I'm sorry, he was just a fool. But if you want to leave, leave. But you don't get to take his car and his credit card, but say I don't want nothing to do with you, and I ain't gonna answer your phone calls when you call me up, girl. It's not how this works. Then we got Michael crazy ass. Michael done dressed up like a bear, some little character he had created for his daughter when she was in jail. And he gonna go to the house dressed up like this bear. Now, clearly, he walking through the lobby, and the lady at the front desk ain't even blinking. This fool walking through the lobby in a full on clown costume, okay? And she was just like, "Have a nice day." I said, you just not. Okay. Now, while over at the house, you got Sarah and Sarah's was it Malcolm, Sarah's boyfriend. He leaves to go get he conveniently leaves to go get some bagels. He said, "You want to go get some coffee, bagels, and some cookies for the kids? How you just gonna eat? How y'all gonna be eating breakfast and the kids eating sugar? What kind of?" Anyway, he's gone when Michael shows up. Michael shows up without calling, without anything. He just shows up, and of course, Sarah's pissed off, but I mean, it's the kid's father, and hell, the only time he come around is when the cameras are filming, so you might as well let the kids get it in while they can get it in. Of course, Malcolm shows up while Michael is there, and both of them are feeling, uncomfortable and and feeling weird. But they do end up having a mumble conversation. I say mumble because both of their asses was mumbling through the conversation. But they do end up having a conversation, and they actually start talking about what happened at the party and why Michael left the party and that whole situation. And Michael was like, well, listen, I just didn't appreciate the fact that, like, I didn't want the party to be about us meeting up in a whole situation. I really wanted it to just be about my daughter and be there for my daughter. And my thing was, then all you had to do was just say, hey, how you doing? And keep it moving. Like you doing right now? See how you doing right now? And then you went back to go play with your kids. Malcolm asked him something. I forgot what Malcolm asked him, but whatever it was, Michael didn't want to answer it. And Michael basically excused himself from the conversation at that point. But he, in the midst of it all, Malcolm felt some kind of way because Malcolm was like, I get it that they have kids together and they have this like weird situation. But what I don't understand is, why is Michael able to get this reaction out of Sarah? Like, Michael is able to get Sarah to react in a way that is absolutely ridiculous and unnecessary. And I 100% agree with that. Like, I do feel like, but I've said that before, like, Sarah, I mean, like, Michael, how in the world do you get, like, how do you get this reaction? Why do you allow, because you still love him. Because you still really want to be with him at the end of the day. That's really what that boils down to. And then at the end of the episode, Malcolm is asking Sarah, like, listen, you brought me here, which was interesting because, I don't know, he lives like 4 hours away, or he's from like 4 hours away. So I don't know if like they met on some sort of dating site or something, and then he ended up moving up there. Whatever the situation is, he was like, you brought me up here, and all I'm saying is, why would you bring me into a situation or bring me into this and you still feel some kind of way about Michael? I mean, he gets you all emotional. And she was like, am I emotional over Michael or am I emotional over these kids? You're emotional over Michael. You're emotional over Michael. And, she was just like, well, don't do this. And, Malcolm kind of hit her with the kiss, like, you let me know when you're ready to figure it out. Like, it is what it is. And like I said, Sarah, you still love Michael and want to be with Michael. Michael, you want Sarah when it's convenient for you to want Sarah. You really don't want her full time, but you really ain't ready to let her go. And it's all just dysfunctional. I ain't got the energy for y'all. Moving on. In real life, Michael Aston got arrested for child neglect or endangerment or whatever, some crazy shit. So Michael, and y'all know what I noticed? Michael is on parole. How you get to be on parole with no job? I thought that was a stipulation for you being on parole, is that you have to get and maintain employment. Who is his parole officer? Well, is being on the show a job? I guess technically that would be a job. I guess technically that's the job. Anyway. That's Michael and Sarah. Now let's talk about Scott and Lindsay. Listen. These two deserve each other. These are the most dysfunctional, both of them. So we see a lot of stuff went down with Scott and Lindsay. So let's go on and just talk about them. We start this episode off. We see Scott is pouring himself a good mimosa first thing in the morning. I mean, not mimosa. Orange juice and vodka first thing in the morning. Okay. Lindsay is on her way to go take some modeling shots. Now, here's the thing. I ain't mad at Lindsay for wanting to go and try to, she said, I did some modeling before I went to jail. I called up, my little modeling friend, my little photographer friend. I want to take some headshots and see if I can get a little work. I'm not even mad at you about that, Lindsay. I'm really not. Scott said, Lindsay said, listen, when I was in jail, the plan was I was going to get out of jail. I was going to help Scott run his business. I was going to take care of the financial side. Scott was going to take care of the, the work side. Scott said, listen, I know what we talked about when she was in jail. However, comma, she is a convicted felon. I just need to make sure that our relationship is solid and that we are where we need to be before I give her access to all my books and she can see what's what, who's who. And I don't know, stuff might come up missing. Sky, ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you for slowing this whole thing down. I'm not mad at you for saying, I know what I told you, but that's not what we doing. I also think Scott might not want Lindsay seeing them books because then Lindsay will realize how much money he really don't have. But you know what though? On the flip side of this, I think Scott might really have a little bit of change. I think Scott is probably disorganized in how he spends his money, and he probably does need somebody to help him organize it and keep it set up the way it needs to be set up. And I'm gonna tell you why. That house was a hot damn mess when Lindsay moved in. Do y'all see how nice that house looks now? They've done that in a very short amount of time. They have fixed that house up. Her daughter's room, which we see later on in the episode, he fixed up the attic. He put a spiral staircase. Like last week, they was walking up a ladder into the room. Now there's a whole staircase that goes up to the attic. They've got they painted and shellacked and did everything they needed to do. He done bought furniture for the rooms. I mean, that's a lot of money in a short amount of time. Anybody who has even tried to redecorate one room in their house, you know how that stuff can add up. He was doing major, major stuff. So I think Scott might have a little bit of change. I think Scott just might be disorganized, and his books he probably does need somebody helping with his books. Like when he went to use the limo and it declined his credit card, he just pulled out another credit card. But I think he probably isn't paying attention to his finances. But that's my opinion. I don't know this man. I'm just looking at all that they did in such a short period of time on that house, and I know that ain't cheap. Like, that shit ain't cheap. Anyway, moving on. So, Scott is feeling some kind of way about her going to see this photographer. Like, in his mind, he immediately goes to, is this man going to, are these regular shots? Are these nude shots? Are you going to be taking, are you going to be taking risque shots? Is he doing porn? Lindsay was like, what? How we go from me taking some pictures to automatically you thinking it's gonna be some shit like me? What? So Scott takes her. Now Lindsay don't tell Scott, I need you to give me a ride, but of course that's what happens. So Scott takes her to go take these pictures. He is grilling the photographer outside while Lindsay inside, I guess, getting herself together, child. And he's asking him all these crazy questions. Well, what kind of pictures you take? How long have you known Lindsay? When did you meet Lindsay? What do you know about Lindsay? How do you know Lindsay? I said, so Scott a little jealous. Scott got a little jealous streak. That's what we doing here, Scott? That's what we're doing now, Scott? Okay, cool. You got a little bit of a jealous streak. I see that. I see you. So then, later on in the episode, like I said, she asked Scott, they showed the little girl the room. What's the little girl name? Kellyanne, whatever the baby name is, her daughter. The room was beautiful. Like I said, they fixed it up really nice. And of course she's happy. Scott's happy. Everybody's happy. So now she's going to hit Scott up with the okie doke. Now y'all remember Tara Bell. Tara Bell is really her little girlfriend, right? Tara Bell done bought a camper so that they could be closer together. And she done asked Scott, well, Tara Bell has bought this camper and she doesn't have anywhere to park it. So she can park it in our driveway until she figures out where she's going to go next. And of course he was like, I guess. As long as it's not going to cause any problems like in the neighborhood or whatever, like I guess it's okay. Girl, so you moving in your piece next to the driveway? That's what we doing here? And she said, I really want to let Scott know what it is, but I don't know how to tell him about it yet. Child. So then we see where the baby was going camping for a couple of days to leave them alone. And Lindsay said, it's time for us to have a come to Jesus moment. I said, come on with your come to Jesus moment. Girl, how about Scott? First of all, she's still mad about Scott going through her stuff because she said, listen, it'd be different if you went through my stuff that one time. We talked about it, you apologized, and we moved on. But you are still going through my stuff, and I know you are. I said, oh, okay. So you, so you, okay, so you, okay, so you still going through her stuff? That's how we doing this, Scott? Then, to make it even worse, why is Scott going through Lindsay's like Facebook and looking up her old boyfriends and stuff and texting and messaging her old boyfriend talking about some so we could what can you tell me about her? What can you tell me about Lindsay? Scott, listen, let me say this to you, boo. I'm not even mad at you because Lindsay do have she got a lot of shit with her. And she is lying to you about this whole Tara Bell situation. However, comma, I'm starting to realize you got some shit with you too. I'm just saying. Oh, Lordy Jesus. These people. Hold on, y'all. So then we have Lamar and his crazy ass wife. So we back in South Central and she's having school with the baby girl, right? We know again, this is COVID, so they're virtual school, home, whatever. They homeschooling or whatever. Lamar's upstairs working on beats and doing whatever, his producing stuff. She downstairs trying to have school with the little girl. And Lamar is interrupting them trying to have school. And she's trying to teach the little girl about her family tree. And she's telling them, showing her pictures of her family, her dad, and all that good stuff. And, I didn't realize she was African. And her dad is African. And she said, I really want to instill in my daughter, all of the things that I learned as a child, growing up or whatever. And I want her to really have a strong knowledge of her culture. So she leaves to go to work. She said, listen, I was doing real estate in Utah. I'm doing real estate again. I'm the breadwinner. And it's really hard for me to be the breadwinner and the person that cooks dinner and the person that cleans the house and takes care of the kids. Like, I really need Lamar to step up. This ain't really working for me. I said, okay. So she leaves and Lamar sits down with the little girl and starts showing her pictures of his family. And they go through his tattoos. And, he has a lot of, like, tattoos of people who died. And he starts going through, oh, this person got shot. Oh, this person was trying to break up a fight and got shot. Like, all of these different things. And he said, well, I got a secret. You want to know what my secret is? You got to promise not to tell nobody. And he opens up this photo album and he has an older daughter. Now, I haven't been watching this show from the beginning, but when they did the flashback footage, it looks like we know that he had a daughter. Like, that's not new information that he had a daughter or whatever. But what it seems like is that the wife didn't want him to have a relationship with his daughter, and as a result he really hasn't. So it seems like he hasn't really been talking to his oldest daughter in like 2 years or something like that, and it has a lot to do with the crazy wife. She don't want her, and I'm like, see, this the part I have a problem with. When you marry a man with kids, like especially as a black man, the last thing we need to be doing is discouraging men from being a part of their children's life, especially black men. So I have a problem with that. I have no respect for that. Yeah, because of your own personal insecurities. He should have as much of a family with his oldest daughter. I mean, as much as a relationship with his oldest daughter as he has with your children. And that's disrespectful. And I think that's messed up that you want him to have a relationship with your kids who are from another man, but you're discouraging him from having a relationship from his kids, whatever. But I have even less respect for you, Lamar, because you allowed it to happen. Ain't nobody going to tell me what I can and can't do with my kids. Nobody's going to tell me how much of a relationship I can and can't have with my kids. That's not going to happen. But whatever, I digress. Moving on. So she tells he going to tell the little girl, like, that little girl ain't going to keep that secret, right? She's a child. First of all, that's unfair of her because she's a child. We shouldn't put that on children. Like, that's adult stuff. So it's not on the child to keep the secret. But anyway. So then we see later on in the episode where he calls it, like, he's supposed to be setting up time to go see his daughter. And he says, yeah, I'm bringing my baby with me. And she was like, well, I thought it was just going to be just us. And he was like, yeah, I mean, but she said, I told her about you and she's excited to meet you and she really wants to meet you. Lamar, read the room. She don't give a damn right now. You have not, she said, so I haven't heard from you in 2 years and you do reach out to me and now I got to share you with the person that you already live with. See, read the room, Lamar. This ain't the time to bring baby girl. Maybe once you've reestablished your relationship with your daughter and y'all have built some sort of trust in there, maybe then you can bring the other daughter around and they can build their friendship. But you worried about them being sisters before you worried about reconnecting with your child. And maybe in the moment you didn't see it that way, but that's what was going on. And you got to read the room because she was very clear. So he was like, all right, well, are you going to meet me or not? And she was like, I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. She's hurt. And she doesn't, like the little bit of time she thought she was going to get with you and have some one-on-one time, now she's got to share you with the person that you live with. Nah, she ain't here for that. Nope. And it's not fair for her. It's not fair to her, I should say, to expect that from her. Okay, so that's Lamar now. Okay. Brittany and Marcelino. It's Brittany's 30th birthday party. They are partying like it ain't no COVID going on. Okay, they drinking. They in each other's face. I ain't seen one mask. It's got to be. It's more than 10 of them there. Well, at least it look like it. And they get to talking, and the lady tells Brittany, "I used to be ashamed of you." I don't know if it's her sister or not. I don't know who these people are. I used to be ashamed of you, but I'm not anymore because, yeah, you were that crackhead, but now you done clean your life up, and I love you, and so Brittany's all crying, and she's all crying, and she calls her other sister, and, she's like, but I haven't heard from Mom, and even though my mother has these problems, and she's a drug addict, and she's this, I really want to hear from my mom. It's my birthday. I really miss my mom. I really miss not hearing from my mom, blah, 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 blah. Later on in the episode, Marcelino was like, why is everybody crying? Let's liven up this party. Let's boop, boop, boop. Let's liven this party up. Let's have a good time. And then he smashes her birthday cake in her face. So, of course, she's upset. It turns into a whole thing. But they work it out, child. They work it out. Whatever. Okay. Quaylin and, what's her name? Chevelle. We start off by seeing Chevelle throwing Quaylin's clothes out the window, right? And here's where I'm confused. At the beginning of the episode, they were at the house that we always been seeing them film at. At the end of the episode, they were at an apartment. So I don't know what was going on. But what I do know is whatever has happened since they stopped filming to this part right here, Quaylin done got himself some new glasses, honey. He done got himself some gold teeth. Okay, Quaylin done got a whole lot going on. Now, I don't know what kind of job Quaylin got. But Chevelle done went through the man's phone and seen what he been texting other women. And through the text messages, it looks like he been having sex with these other women. Because the girl was like, when can I get a piece of that, eggplant emoji again? Again means you did it once, okay? So she calls the girl on camera. The producers done set her up to call the girl. She calls the girl on camera, and at first the girl was like, I don't know no Quaylin. That's right, girl. Deny. But the fact that you said you don't know no Quaylin tells me that you know that Quaylin had a girlfriend. That's what that tells me. Because if I'm dating somebody and I'm thinking that he's single and somebody calls me and asks, do you know a so-and-so? I'm going to be like, yeah, what's up? But the fact that the first thing out your mouth was, I don't know no Quaylin, you knew about Chevelle. Anyway, so Chevelle, of course, continues to go on and on. Oh, you don't know no Quaylin? Well, your number in my man's phone, and this, and this, and this, and that. So then, of course, they get to arguing, and Chevelle gets to cussing her out. Listen, let me explain. She was like, were you putting money on his books? The girl was like, maybe not. Were you going to visit him in jail? The girl was like, maybe not. See, this is what I will never understand, and I don't care until I'm blue in the face. I don't care. I'll be 20 years in the grave. I will never understand taking it out on the woman. That woman didn't make no commitment to you. Quaylin did. That woman didn't lie to you. Quaylin did. Why you cussing her out? First of all, you might have got more information out of her if you had played the position cooler. If you had been like, girl, I think it's Quaylin. Listen, girl, Quaylin playing you. Because I think he playing me. How long you know him, girl? See, then you might have got some information. But all of that calling her out her name and cussing and yelling at her, girl, you ain't going to get nothing out of me too. And I'm going to play the same game she playing. She might have just met Quaylin last week. But her talking about something, maybe not. That bothered you way more than it bothered her. She was laughing at you. So then, this the other thing that let you know. And I don't know how it was edited, but the way we saw it. This the other thing that let you know. Ma'am. As soon as you hung up on the phone cussing that girl out, 10 minutes later, you weren't even done doing your interview yet. Quaylon done called you talking about some what's up. You know why Quaylon called you talking about some what's up? Because that girl called him and said, she done cuss, your girl done called me, cussed me out. She crazy as hell. Girl, what's up with your girl? So then Quaylon called you. So then you proceeded to cuss Quaylon out. And he playing his position. I ain't do nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't do nothing. I ain't cheat on you. I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't do nothing. I didn't cheat on you. What you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't do nothing. Like, that was his story. Let me tell you something. Quaylon, you can tell he been in jail. Quaylon ain't copped to shit. Do you hear me? So later on in the episode, we see her confronting him again. Like I said, now they at this apartment complex. So I don't know who I don't know who lived in the apartment. I don't know, but Quaylon played his position, honey, and she got the cussing Quaylon out again, talking about something. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And he was like, well, I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, I didn't cheat on you. And even as he's driving away in the car, that's why I said, well, I don't know where they were, because he left. But that wasn't the house where they been living. But he rolled out with somebody in the car. And he was like, I love Chevelle. You know, she didn't even give me a chance to say nothing. She just going to believe what she want to believe. But I ain't cheat on her. I ain't cheat on her. Quaylon, listen. And then he was like, of course I got pictures in my phone of girls. I've been locked up for, 12 years. Of course, I've been around men all my life. Of course I want to be around some women. You stick to that. And then he said, yeah, there were messages in the but I mean, that was from before. Listen, I don't believe Chevelle is that stupid to not look at timestamps. Listen, Facebook got timestamps, iPhone got timestamps, and I'm sure Androids do. So I'm sure she could look and see whether that text message came through 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago. Boy, stop it. Quaylon, stop it. Anyway, y'all. Last but not least, we got oh Lord. Lacey and Shane. Listen, I'm not going to make this long because it's been almost 30 minutes to this. I've been talking. Remember, she's pregnant. They get to go in for the first sonogram. Of course, Shane is nervous as hell. Because he like, I don't know how in the hell I'm going to take care of 3 babies on top of the 3 babies we already had. Because remember, they did the artificial insemination and 3 embryos stuck. So they're on their way he's on his way to go to the first doctor's appointment because of COVID, he hadn't been able to go in with her. So now he can go in, and they having this conversation about finances at the beginning and how, he said, I work temp work. So sometimes, my paychecks fluctuate, and that's just not good. I need to come up with something more stable so that, to help with the family and this and this and this and that. They go to the doctor's appointment. They do the sonogram, and only one of the babies is still there. The other 2 embryos are gone. And remember, at the beginning, the doctor told them this is early on. This, it may or may not stick, So, and I think was it not Scott? I keep wanting to say Scott. I think that he was very honest when he said, listen, I'm happy and I'm sad all at the same time. Like, I'm happy for the baby that did survive. I'm sad for the 2 that we lost. But in the back of his mind, I know he was like, shit, I couldn't take care of no triplets anyway. And like I said, and I told you guys that when they said it, I have friends who've done artificial insemination. It was early for them to be trying to say, oh yeah, this happened, that happened. But she's still, Lacey's still pregnant. But it's just the 1 embryo now instead of her having triplets. And yeah, they're good. That's it. I ain't got a whole lot more. All right, you guys. That's it. That's all. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.